Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. Today I have 1.5 guests. First of all, Nikki, an old friend of mine.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And then the other half guest, she hopefully will be much less involved in the conversation, is Treely, my little lap dog here. She apparently needs some lap time, so I am her emotional support human. So I will be playing that role as well. It's good to see you.
I know. Always good to see you.
We've known each other for what, 15 years now?
I don't want to talk about it. It feels like a really long time I don't know, I've known you through like 3, 4 jobs.
You were at Kellogg when I was working with Kellogg when I was
Yeah.
at Integer. Yeah.
You are the one who made me want to be in the agency creative space.
Oh man. I will take that as a compliment and I will realize it might have also been a curse. But either way, it's the life we chose.
That's right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your new business, which I'm very excited to hear more about. And then we'll get into covering some of the issues about the brand that you're working on.
Yeah. So I launched Las Olas Luxury Living a little over a year ago now. It started with a frustration, I feel like, as a lot of new brands and new product development does.
Mhm.
I felt like my pool and patio furniture was just disintegrating every summer, whether I had wicker patio furniture and like wind and sun got to it,
Right.
or my pool furniture would just warp or be too hot and everything felt really cheap and kind of disposable, or I just kept replacing it because it was way too expensive on the other end of the extreme.
Right. So you have a pool,
Yes.
which is awesome. That means you must live in a warm place.
Yeah, great point. So I live in Texas.
Yes.
The sun is not nice to us a lot of times. So that adds to a need for durability for sure.
Right. And the company is Las Olas. Is that what? Tell me about why'd you chose Las Olas as the name?
Well, it means the waves, and our signature product is a pool lounger that's wave shaped.
Oh, nice.
And it's kind of an ode to Texas. It's a Spanish play on the waves, but Luxury Living really wanted to make it a high-end introductory point from the super premium options.
So the whole company name is Las Olas Luxury Living.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, it's evocative. You're right. There's a little bit of Southwesternness in it because Hispanic names tend to come from that region of the country, which of course I think used to be Mexico before a bunch of wars happened.
Yeah. I
Great.
like targeting all the Sun Belt. So love the
Right.
reason.
Right. Anyone who is looking for pool furniture that doesn't have either one of these two ends of the spectrum, right? It's either way too freaking expensive or it's way too freaking cheap and it disintegrates.
You got it. 100%.
Okay. Great. So how's it going and what are you stuck on? What are you struggling with?
Well, it's hard, but it's also fun. I feel like I'm building something that's mine and I love it. We are already introducing a lot of innovation items,
Right.
struggling through logistics and brand growth challenges, but
Right.
also trying to figure out, since the brand first came into existence, there's been a lot of bigger players entering the market. Um,
And
so
how long of a time span are we talking about?
I started developing in 2023, but we officially launched, it's been just a little over a year, about 14 months or so.
So in just that time frame, you're seeing competitors come into this.
Yes.
And this is a mid-tier, is what you're saying. There was no mid-tier.
So there was no mid-tier because really the way that we made our product more affordable is there's a signature brand that I won't mention
Okay.
that is very expensive.
Okay.
And the reason why I found they're so expensive is because they're one piece, very large products that cost a lot to ship. So their distribution model couldn't really allow for direct to consumer.
Right.
They're more showroom focused.
Okay. We
And
don't talk about Bruno either.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I realized if I made a two-piece product, it could be smaller, more compact, even fit on a retail shelf, but also
Okay.
be direct to consumer, shippable, more affordable to ship.
Interesting. So part of your innovation isn't just coming up with a mid-tier where it's durable but not insanely expensive, but also that you've redesigned the product so you can ship it at a price point that makes shipping products feasible so that the whole business model actually works.
Yes, and we were first to market there. We have a utility patent pending. And
Nice.
since then, lots of big brands have started to develop a two-piece lounger
Uh,
that is competing in my price point space. So
okay.
it's making it harder and trying to figure out where we should really live.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't take long for brands to copy each other, does it?
Right. And I didn't have $100 million to like immediately capture the market, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be really convenient. Okay. So where are you at today in terms of like what's a burning question? I'm sure you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, have 100 questions. What's one we can tackle today?
You're right. I do have 100 questions. I think that I've been shifting my brand voice slowly but surely because I started as kind of a everyman archetype, really wanting to be the brand for everybody, affordable luxury, approachable backyard oasis kind of voice.
Right.
But I'm trying to decide based on some of the past episodes that I've heard you interview other people and kind of talking about the archetype neighborhoods and things like that. Should I be playing in a space that will give me more visibility, more engagement in social, that's like funnier, cheekier, or I don't know, just really trying to land that.
Right. What to do with your voice. And then how does your voice help you actually market Las Olas to others? Okay, so for those who are less familiar with brand archetypes, I think are based on Carl Jung's archetypes, like persona archetypes. And Carl Jung was a psychologist from long ago, maybe 100 years ago, something of that era. And brand archetypes are things like the hero, the lover, the sage. You said the everyman. Was that another one?
Yeah, Everyman. Also thought about the rebel. I think coming in as a disruptor or at least trying to disrupt. I think that
Hmm.
could be another one that we think about. So
Yeah. So archetypes are a very common tool in branding and marketing and developing your brand voice. I love that you've brought this up. They are incredibly useful for one, just picking a lane, right? What kind of voice, what kind of personality does your brand have? Are you a jester? Are you a sage, the wise one? Are you, as you said, the everyman, kind of the everyday person? And I'm sure when you think about these brand archetypes, you can start to think about brands that go with them. So what's a classic everyday archetype brand, everyman brand?
the one that I kept coming back to was Target because it's not everyday low prices. It's more about delivering more in your life, but
Mhm.
for everyone.
Yeah. And then if you're the sage, is there a brand that's an obvious sage brand?
Probably, I feel like I need to go brush up on this right now. Maybe Apple?
Maybe Apple.
Maybe.
Masterclass would be one,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Masterclass has built their brand, or TED, the
Totally.
the wise ones, the wizards, and then the hero. Hero is so many brands, but of course you might think of something like Nike because they conquer, they win, they're the victorious hero. So archetypes are great because they help you figure out a voice that you can then hammer on consistently so that people know what to expect. And part of it is what's the best fit with your audience. So that's a key thing. Like who is buying Las Olas Luxury Living? Did I get that
Mhm.
right?
You got it right.
Las Olas Luxury Living products. And then what archetype might resonate well with them. Have you thought about that from
I
that
have
angle?
no custom research.
Okay.
I just came straight to you. But I think another thing that I'm trying to understand is, does it make sense to always have the same voice?
Right.
Because a lot of people have never heard of us. We're a very small, new, family-run company and very much in startup culture. But as we develop and mature and are talking to our existing customers and sending out emails to people who have subscribed, should we change that tone? Or if they're on social, Do we need to be funnier? And is that a way that we can still stay within that archetype, or should we shift how we look at it?
So, okay, two ways to think about that, which I think might be useful. One is the people that you know, we all have personality, right? I'm kind of a bubbly, silly scientist, entertainer type, I would guess. And you have your own personality and your siblings and your parents and your colleagues. You can kind of see people's personalities at base level, but you know that when people show up in different contexts, they shift those a little bit.
We
So
code.
yeah, the code switching is a great example where you shift a lot.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know code switching, like a classic one is, I mean, Key and Peele, the comedians like to talk about and joke about code switching when you're a Black person or an African American person, and then you code switch to sound white and act white and talk white. That's a big code switching moment. So yeah, you're the same person, but there's a pretty major shift. Another classic one for almost all of us is the way you show up at work isn't always exactly how you show up with your family. And that's certainly not always exactly how you show up maybe with your girlfriends or your buddies when you're out just having a good time with them. So you adjust and shift for the situation. That's totally cool with brands too. So sometimes brands want to be strident and clear and direct, but that same brand can also be funny, quirky, silly in the right context. Or that brand can also be more dry and instructional in a different context. So, just like people, we can code switch might be a little strong, but certainly we can dress for the event,
Hmm. I like that.
you know? So when you're just meeting someone for the first time, you act differently than when you've known them forever. So I think you can give yourself some of that liberty when it comes to your own brand and your own customers. And does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
I need to like put it in creative assets to see how that actually comes to life and understand, but I think so.
Yeah. Right. There are certain things you don't want to shift and adjust.
Right.
Like Nikki, you are always Nikki when you show up to hang out with your friends versus when you meet your in-laws for the first time. But there are some things which you can adjust. And
Mhm.
so that is a great classic situation in marketing and branding, and all brands kind of figure that out and struggle with that. Another couple of things which are kind of fun are archetypes are great because they're classic and they're stereotypical, but almost everyone you know also is a little bit of a blend, right? You're the rebel, but you're also the hero, or you're the rebel, but you're also the jester. So Han Solo, actually, from Star Wars lore,
Mhm.
he's very much the rebel. He's an outsider. He doesn't want to really join the rebellion and all that, join an organization. But he's also kind of a jester, a joker. He makes a lot of wisecracks. And it's the combo of things which make people really interesting. And it also can help make brands more interesting. So go ahead.
It's actually so funny that you say that because I always thought that was Harrison Ford sneaking through. It didn't really feel like Han Solo,
Uh-huh.
but it's the same.
Right. Han Solo very much embodies Harrison Ford.
Right. Hmm.
And in a way, Harrison Ford is on that new show Shrinking about
I love it. I'm
oh,
obsessed.
so good. So
Hmm.
great. I keep watching it and I'm like, "Oh, the writing is so good." And then
Hmm.
in the next scene I'm like, "Ah, the acting and performances are so good."
We need
And I'm
more
like,
TV like that.
right, right. It's so good. So you're right. Han Solo is very much Harrison Ford, but it's that combo that we love about him. And even when he's playing the therapist, which is kind of the sage, he's still a wise ass
Hmm.
and makes cracks and is sarcastic. And so it's the combo that really makes it rich.
Hmm.
And so you shouldn't feel completely penned in by choosing one major archetype, as
Okay.
well as knowing that even if you choose a basic archetype for Las Olas Luxury Living, you can also dress differently for different occasions.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
think that makes total sense. I think that really dimensionalizes the brand to feel like it's something you can connect to better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the very proper person who also kind of has a dirty mind or a potty mouth
Hmm.
is
And also, we're like a pool furniture brand. We shouldn't be stodgy, right?
Right, right. There's an element of luxury. It's in your name,
Hmm.
but then, yeah, you're literally kicking it in the pool
Hmm.
and either having a cocktail or a lemonade or all the stuff that goes along with
Hmm.
pool life. Hashtag pool life. Yeah, it is funny though, Nikki. I will add, since you're kind of finding this mid place between luxury and really basic, and you're a mid tier luxury. And I was talking with some other friends about this. Luxury gets less and less fun and funny. The higher
Hmm.
up you go, it becomes more austere, more sexy, more sophisticated.
Hmm.
And it's interesting to see the brands that try and poke through that or find the way to be mostly luxury, but also be loving and empathetic or silly and funny as well.
Yeah. A trend that I've really been loving right now is the de-influencing trend, where people are just shattering the idea that you have to have luxury at all. And,
Mm,
but ultimately, I think as a brand that's trying to be disruptive, we want to be kind of poking fun at the super luxury end while
yeah.
de-influencing. You don't actually have to take out a second mortgage to be able to furnish your backyard.
Yes. Yes. And so that you're right when it comes to being noticeable, when it comes to being memorable, or the word I love these days is just sticky. How do you make
Mhm.
your brand a little stickier so that when people are thinking about pool furniture, they think of you? When they're
Mhm.
talking to friends about the pool furniture that they bought or showing off the stuff they got, and someone says, "Where'd you get that?" And you're sticky and you're interesting and you're engaging, and people talk about you more warmly. I hesitate to talk about brand love. It's there, but it's not always where the money's at.
Yeah, same.
Yep. But to be sticky, I think you're right. To take something like the formality of luxury and subvert it or play with it or poke holes in it or add that other flavor to it, that's where I think you'll A, have a lot more fun as a business owner, and B, probably become a little more interesting and sticky to your prospects and your customers.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. Las Olas Luxury Living. And then you add some spice around the
Yeah, I
edge.
feel like I need a sound, like a sound clip to dimensionalize your brand voiceover.
Yeah, you could absolutely do that. In fact, sonic branding, a huge piece that we often forget and don't think about at the beginning, and then big brands think about it at the end, like Intel, dun 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 dun,
Mhm.
right? And I've got just the guy you could talk to. My buddy Shez is all about sonic branding. He could talk to
Okay.
you about Las Olas's soundscape. And
I love that. I love that we're taking this everywhere too. This conversation is all over the place and it's my favorite. I did design an animated logo that had
ooh,
a sound file
uh-huh.
like early days, and I basically used it one time and never picked it up again. So maybe I also need to revisit that and see if it's still the right
You
sonic.
know, anything you can do to fight unfair, anything you can do to give yourself an extra boost or advantage, any way you can add another arrow in your quiver to
Mhm.
make your brand sticky and to have a thing that people link to your brand. We could do a whole conversation just about that and sonic branding. But yeah, you're on the right track. And I love this notion of starting with the archetype, figuring out a voice for your brand so people get to know, oh, that's who Las Olas is. And then playing with or spicing up or subverting or toying with the core archetype with some other fun stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm excited. All that sounds fun.
Great. Great. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes. I am sure I'll have you back on the show and we can talk more about many of your other questions and how Las Olas is doing.
I would love that.
Great. Have a lovely day. I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Thanks, Ethan.
All right. Ciao. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to learn more about brand science, head on over to appliedbrandscience.com. Also, if you got something out of this episode, think of one person who might also get something out of it and send it to them as a way of saying, hey, Thinking of you.